In the opening scene of Destination Love, we see Madison Branson, a San Francisco-based accountant, in her office building, going into her boss Malcolm Calder's office. She reports the job she just completed, even though the submission time has almost elapsed. She explained that it was a complicated audit, and she had to review the account 3 times. Not minding that she just completed a complicated task, her boss immediately assigns her another urgent task to be submitted on Monday morning. This is not what she was expecting, but left with no choice, she reluctantly collects the flash drive while giving a fake smile, and heads to her office. On getting to her desk, she sighs and looks at a goofy picture of her and her friends, Lori and Ben, which is on her desk. The 3 friends are what you might call the 3 musketeers. When she is about to check out the new task she is assigned, she receives a video call from Lori and Ben. They ask her if she will be meeting up with them that evening, but she tells them she has work. Lori tells her she has to be there, like every other person, because they have news. Then she thinks she doesn't want to show up because her ex-boyfriend, Granger, who broke up with her through text, will be there. This surprises Ben, and she explains that he complains she uses too many emojis while texting. While they are convincing her to come to dinner, her boss Malcolm comes in. He is about to leave work, and he informs her that he will be reachable throughout the weekend if she needs anything. Lori believes she should free herself from the shackles of her job, but Madison defends her job as always. Later, Madison works late into the night, and she misses dinner. While working, she hears a sound from outside and goes to check. The hallway is clear and she calls out, only to see her friends surprising her. She missed dinner, so they come bearing their news with a bottle of champagne in hand. They finally reveal the news: they are getting married after being together for 3 years. The surprising part of this is that they want her to plan their event. She reminds them that she is an accountant, but Lori believes she will do just fine, because she has always fancied being an event planner. Ben also urges her to put her artistic nature to good use. They plead with her to plan their big day, and make use of all the vacation leave she has been hoarding. They don't want a massive glittery event. All they want is a wedding that is small, simple, and adventurous. They believe she can help them to bring their plan to reality through her creativity. Eventually, they convince her and celebrate together. Later, Madison gets to work on the event planning. She begins to search for the perfect destination, but all the ones she has been seeing do not seem perfect. In the next scene, we see Waihac Island in New Zealand. Then we see a very large grape vineyard, belonging to the Bayvista Winery. Then we see David Westhaven, the venue manager, going to meet his vintner, Leon Simmons. Leon just finished making a new wine, and they have a taste of it. Leon believes this wine is going to be one of New Zealand's finest. David opens his laptop and decides to make Bayvista Winery an event destination. Then he publishes the site. Meanwhile, Madison is still on the hunt for the perfect location, and she stumbles upon Bayvista Winery. She falls in love with the place immediately, coupled with the fact that it is affordable. Just as David wants to shut down his laptop, he gets a message from Madison, who can't believe the place is real. David is surprised at such a quick response and assures her that the place is real. He assumes that it is her wedding, but she tells him it is for her friends. She also confirms that the rate is affordable at a great promotional price. David notices she uses lots of emoji while typing, and he casually mentions it. As they are chatting, David gets another inquiry and informs Madison. She immediately confirms and sets the date. In the next scene, she meets with her friends and informs them of the venue she found. They are quite surprised at how fast her plans have moved. The most surprising thing for them is that the venue is on Waihac Island in New Zealand, and the set date is in 11 days. She assures them that it is the perfect destination for their wedding, as she mentions the different beautiful locations on the island. Ben believes that it is perfect, even though it is spontaneous. However, Lori is a bit worried about the credibility, since there are no pictures of an actual event that has happened there. Madison assures them that she will be there beforehand, to make all the necessary arrangements. She reveals that she has taken all her vacation days, and her friends are very happy for her. Lori reminds her that she is to be her witness and maid of honor. At the same time, Ben says she will also be his best woman. The friends are excited for what is to come. In the next scene, Madison, Lori, and Ben travel to Waihac Island in New Zealand. They are so enthralled by the beautiful scenery. On getting to their location, David welcomes them and assumes Lori is Madison. But Madison introduces herself, and for a moment there, he seems captivated by her beauty. Lori and Ben also introduce themselves. Leon also welcomes them. They are amazed by the beautiful view. David assists Madison with her luggage, even though she doesn't want to bother him with it. They split up as Leon takes Ben and Lori to their room, while David and Madison are to check out the location. When the couple wants to go with Madison, she refuses, as it is to be a surprise. While David and Madison are carrying her luggage in, David asks what she does, and he is surprised to know that she is an accountant. As they go in, she is amazed by the beautiful view, and asks that he show her around. In the next scene, David takes Madison through the vineyard. He reveals that Leon is the winemaker, and he thinks the idea of him wanting to expand their business as a wedding venue is a risky business. Then he mentions that the last wedding that fell over proves his point. For her to understand what he is saying, he proceeds to show her the details of the failed wedding in the reception room. On getting there, he shows her an already decorated wedding reception, and Madison is wowed. It was supposed to be for the wedding that got canceled at the last minute, and Madison is shocked. David does not want all the decorations to go to waste, but Madison is angry that he was not specific in his advertisement. She believes taking on someone's wedding is like bad luck. However, he tries to calm her. After calming, she mentions that they would need to change the decoration to suit Ben and Laurie's taste. He also gives her a menu and other details of the wedding, including the wedding hatch that has already been built in the garden. He is shocked to know that the guests are just 20. He believes weddings should have a minimum of 150 guests. David goes into the details of the wedding plan, which he surprisingly knows very well. Madison tells him they will need to scale down everything. They agree to talk to the suppliers that have already been booked, so they will not be disappointed about the change in plan. Back in the reception hall, they continue to plan the wedding. Due to the way Madison is planning, David wonders how she knows so much about weddings, and she reveals that she has been to many. While they are talking, Ben and Laurie barge in, and they are shocked to see the decor. Madison has to do a lot of convincing that the decor is for a previous wedding. She assures her that she will get her dream wedding. Then she tells them to go and explore, while she and David get on with the planning. David is surprised to hear her add him to the event planning. But knowing he should have informed them about the wedding decor, he agrees to the plan. After they leave, David apologizes for not giving Madison the entire details, and mentions that he should have known if something was going to work or not. Madison asks him whose taste the decoration is, then he reveals that it was all the bride's idea, because he was supposed to be sitting in the couple's chair. This is when Madison realizes that the wedding was supposed to be between David, as the groom, and his ex-girlfriend Lisa. She apologizes. In the next scene, Madison meets David drinking some apple juice. He informs her that Leon has gone to the mainland for some work for a couple of days. Madison believes that the whole wedding thing is going to be difficult for him, but he assures her that it was a mutual decision, and they went their separate ways amicably. He mentions that Lisa, the ex, and him don't see eye to eye on so many things. Madison suddenly blurts out that it sounds like her and Granger, her ex-boyfriend. She apologizes for dragging him into the whole wedding plan. Then they begin to draw out the plan, and they add some of David's ideas to her own. They walk through the garden, and Madison informs him that she will go for a food tasting. Ben and Laurie meet them on the way. David leaves them to carry out his task of dismantling the wedding hatch, because Madison wants another place for a better view. They informed Madison that their guests confirmed that they would be at the wedding. They tell them about how friendly Leon is, even though Madison has not had the opportunity to know him yet. Laurie begins to hint at David being nice and single, but she quickly draws her aside. Madison informs her that it was David's wedding that fell through at the last minute. She concludes that he is off limits, even though he is single. In the next scene, Madison helps David out with the wedding hatch. They move it to another location and set it up there. Their first task is successfully done. Leon is back, and he joins them. He suggests she taste some of his cooking. After tasting his sauce, she loves it, and the wine as well. The problem they have is that they don't know how to deal with the canopy supply that has been ordered. Madison then asks Leon how many guests he is expecting for the wine tasting. The expected guests are about 100, so Madison suggests that they use the extra canopies for the wine tasting. Problem solved. The next day, Madison can't seem to operate the coffee machine and has made quite a mess. David walks in and sees the situation. He offers to buy her a coffee as they go to the market to check out the cake. They drive to the mainland market, and she is surprised that David is not scared of leaving his door unlocked. This makes her fall in love with New Zealand the most. They run into Lisa, David's ex, and Madison introduce themselves. Lisa also steals David away for a second while Madison goes to look around. Lisa talks about wanting to come and see him before. She has heard about the wedding and is concerned that he is giving away the wedding, just like that. He reminds her that it has been called off, and it's better to let another couple use it than waste resources. She leaves him after their talk. David meets Madison, and they go to the cake vendor. She informs them that she has already gotten all the needed ingredients, so they can't downsize. To solve the problem, they get just the bottom tier and further the rest to another couple as a wedding gift, since they want the same flavor. Afterward, they sit to discuss their next step in front of the river. David thinks the place is too quiet for her, but she loves it just the way it is. She reveals that she is an accountant, because she was told that having a degree means being successful, but now she knows better. To David, success means following one's dreams, just like he is doing with the vineyard he owns after his parents' demise. He is determined to make the business work. Madison reveals she gave up on event management as a career because she thought it was too volatile and fickle, but now she realizes that she made a mistake. David adds that everyone makes mistakes. They eat their cupcakes there. Next, they plant some flowers around the wedding hatch, and it looks more beautiful. They talk about changing the table arrangement. As for the flowers in the reception hall, David suggests giving them to his Aunt Edith and her friends, who would love them. Leon meets them talking by the hatch and informs Madison that her friends have gone kayaking. He suggests David goes and prepares his special dish for them. Madison helps him out in the kitchen, and they have fun while at it. After preparing the meal, they take it to Leon's wine store. David watches as Madison talks passionately about the vineyard. Madison keeps complimenting the fantastic smell of the place. She wonders how Leon learned how to make wine. This makes David reveal that Leon got passionate about making wine while they were in school. He would spend hours in there with him and his dad, after which he went on a train in France. Although he got a couple of job offers there, he came back after David asked him. Seeing that she shows genuine interest in their place, David offers to take her around the island and on a bike. In the next scene, they ride bikes through the island as David leads the way. After riding for a while, David buys them some apples, and they go to the beach for a picnic. When they get back, Madison meets Ben and Lori making a fire outside. After David and Leon take the bikes inside, Madison joins her friends, who are ready to hear of her escapades with David. Lori believes that he is a cool guy. Meanwhile, Leon also believes David likes Madison a lot. When David mentions a bad time, he believes it doesn't apply to love. Sitting by the fireside and staring into the fire, Lori wonders if Madison is thinking about David. But she reveals that she is thinking about everything, including her job. She thinks she can be good at event planning, and her friends exchange a knowing smile. They set her up so she can consider a career change by doing what she loves. Leon and David bring more food, and Lori whispers to her friend that there is nothing wrong with her considering some fun. After the dinner, David talks about going for a walk, and Lori quickly urges her friend to go with him. They take 2 lanterns and head out. They walk through the vineyard, and he tells her about the process a grape takes in ripening. As he talks, she wonders if he is having second thoughts about giving away his wedding. Then he reveals that she is confusing in a good way. But he can't seem to find the perfect words to express his emotions, so he walks away nervously, leaving them confused. The next day, the wedding plan continues. Ben meets with David to tell him that a rental company has come for the chairs and table. David assures him that they know what to do. Ben asks for where to get a tuxedo, because the one he ordered wouldn't be there on time. He wants to surprise her with the tux. David thinks for a while, then remembers that he has one that he hasn't worn, and since they are about the same size, it would likely fit him. Ben is glad, especially since if it fits, since Lori would never know he had a problem with his clothes. David mentions that it doesn't sound like Madison, which makes Ben conclude that she has him all figured out as well. David wishes he could say the same for himself. In the next scene, Madison and Lori go shopping for clothes. In the end, Lori doesn't seem to find the exact dress she wants, and their guests will soon be arriving. Suddenly Madison sees the perfect one. Lori is happy because it is going to be a surprise for Ben. Lori shifts the conversation to her friend. She mentions David telling her she's confused. Lori looks at her, and Madison warns her not to give her the same look she gave her when she set her up with Granger, which ended up badly. Lori assures her that not all relationships will end the same way that one did. Madison reminds her friend that she is heading home in a few days, and she is very busy with the event planning. Also, she mentions him being off-limits emotionally because he's on the rebound. Lori dismisses her excuses and explains that the reason he said she is confusing is because he just broke up with his ex-girlfriend, and he is starting to feel things that he doesn't expect to be feeling, with no idea how to handle it. She thinks Madison needs to work on clearing his confusion. She advises her to leap. When they get back, they meet David. Lori tries to make him tell him what Ben would be wearing, but he wouldn't divulge the information. After Lori leaves, David tells Madison that she will soon get busy with the arrival of the guests and the wedding ceremony, so he asks her to dinner in the vineyard before she leaves. That night, he leads her to where he set up for them, a dinner under the stars, and he holds the chair for her. They have a nice evening and toast to the real kind of sharing. After dinner, Madison flings herself on the bed with a beautiful smile on her face. Then she gets a message from her boss at work. He can't wait to have her back because the accounts are piling up. The next morning, Madison comes to meet David and nervously talks about their dinner. She appreciates him and keeps attaching their lovely evening as a great selling point for the vineyard. Meanwhile, David keeps mentioning that he had a lovely evening with her. Madison talks about focusing on the plan ahead. She seems tense as she speaks. David offers her coffee, and her face softens a bit before she declines and gets back to being serious. They go to the wedding reception hall to start from there, but unfortunately, they meet an empty hall. The rental company packed everything. Madison tries not to freak out, and she tells David to call them, to know what they can get back. She quickly runs to meet Ben and Lori from lunch. She does not tell them about the latest developments. Instead, she claims that she wants to ensure that everything is perfect for the event. On getting back after her friends drive off, she realizes that David has not been able to get another company. So, Madison suggests that they improvise. Immediately, they start making use of all that they've got in the winery. They get some more supplies from the market as well. They are still left with the problem of the chairs and tables when David suddenly gets an idea. He takes her to the wine store, which is Leon's workspace. Madison loves the idea of the day they suddenly realize they have been holding hands. They awkwardly leave their hands and start to polish the table, bench, and floors. Then they move in their supplies. The final thing is for them to decorate the place with flowers, first thing in the morning. They think about the chairs the guests will use outside, and they come up with another solution. They start moving the benches around the place to the location. Everything eventually comes along nicely. David tries saying something, but Madison cuts him short and asks for the florist's number and some candles, and a chandelier. Just as David is about to say what he intends to tell her, his ex-girlfriend Lisa walks up to them. She asks to talk to him, and he is reluctant to leave until Madison assures him that she will find the florist's number. She looks at them as they walk off. As they walk, Lisa sees that they have moved the wedding hatch. She has come to talk to him about them. She believes they make a mistake canceling things, even though she knows he wants something simple and laid back. She acknowledges that she pushed him too hard, but she believes that it is not enough reason to end everything. David is shocked she is saying this, even after they have talked about it. They constantly disagree on issues, but Lisa thinks they need more time. She wants them to get back together and try again. When he refuses, she thinks it's because he has been spending too much time with the Americans. David refuses to get back together with her, and he hugs her. Unfortunately, Madison sees them as they are hugging, and immediately thinks they are getting back together. She gets heartbroken and goes into the wine store. Even when Leon approaches her about naming the wine, he notices she seems off. Then she claims that everything is fine, especially with David and Lisa getting back together. This shocks Leon, and he tells her that they both know it is not great news. He reveals that David has been the happiest ever since she came around, so going back to Lisa is not a wise decision. They talk about love, and Madison suddenly comes up with a name for the wine. The next morning is the wedding day. They put flowers around the wedding venue. Madison helps Ben dress up and thanks him for helping her do what she loves doing passionately, which is event planning. Madison also goes to help Lori dress up. Loris notices that Madison is upset about something. She finally reveals that she thinks David is getting with his fiancée. Her friend advises her not to jump to conclusions, since he didn't tell her that. She wants him to be honest with him about the situation. She tells her to go and meet him to talk about it, not minding that she will need to dress up alone. Madison meets David in the reception hall arranging the table. She appreciates his help and talks about him getting back together with her. He reveals that she is wrong, and they haven't resolved things. Instead, they'd evidence they made the right decision and ended things amicably. Right there, he tells her his mind, and how he fell in love with her. He wishes that she would be back in America, and loves being with her. She also tells him that she loves being with him as well. They are about to kiss when Leon barges in and shows her the label of the wine she helped him name. It is just in time for the wedding. Madison invites him to the event, then she rushes off to help Lori prepare for the ceremony. Finally, everything is set, and Lori walks down the aisle with her parents. David and Leon watch the beautiful ceremony. Madison performs her duty as the best woman, and everyone cheers for the couple. At the reception, Ben appreciates everyone, but most especially Madison for planning the wonderful event and being their maid of honor. Madison makes a beautiful toast to the bride and groom with the new wine she just named Sunset. She appreciates them for pushing her out of her comfort zone and doing what she loves. She also toasts her wonderful friends. Later, David sends her an emoji text directing her to meet him in the garden by the sunset. She goes to him. On getting to him, she informs him that she is tempted to extend her vacation because she is ready for a change in her life. David reveals his life has already changed, and through her, he has finally found the answers he has been looking for. Then he asks if they can be part of the answer for each other. Madison accepts his proposal, and they kiss right there in the sunset.